Today we're doing math pages 121 and 122. Psalms 139, 23 through 24 says, "Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." Okay, in today's page it's titled Fraction Bar as a Division Symbol. And so we're going to look at some fractions, and they're going to be improper fractions. As we learned, an improper fraction is any time that there's a bigger number on top. And so we see in the yellow box, you have 32 over 4. That's an improper fraction. And what it's basically saying is read as 32 divided by 4. So they show us another example of this down here, where they have 100 over 5. And so what we're saying is the 5 goes here, and the 100 goes here, and we've got 100 divided by 5. Sometimes a fraction bar is called a division bar. So as we look at the class practice, it says to read as a division sentence and find the quotients. So we're going to find the quotients, which is the answer to a division problem. So in 1a, what they're saying is 2 into 10. 2 goes into 10 5 times. B, what they're saying is 9 into 54. And 9 goes into 54 6 times. Okay, C, they're saying 5 into 15. Well, 5 goes into 15 3 times. D, 7 into 42, or 42 divided by 7. 7 goes into 42 6 times. E, 48 divided by 8. 8 goes into 48 6 times. Okay, number 2, we're doing the same thing, but our answers aren't going to go in evenly, meaning there's going to be a remainder, and it's telling us that we need to write our remainders as fractions. So we'll do that now. 2 goes into 11. Goes in 5 times with 1 left over. So 5, remainder 1, or it's going to be 1 over, and since that's a 2 right there, we put it right there. 2. And we get 5.5 as our answer. Okay, so I'll do B. I'm going to do B up here. We're saying 9 goes into 55. 55 divided by 9. 9 goes into 55 6 times. 6 times 9 is 54. You subtract and you get 1 as your remainder. So it's going to be 6 and 1 over, since that's a 9. We bring the 9 over here. 6 and 1 over 9. 6 and 1 over 9. Okay, C. 5 goes into 16 3 times. 5 times 3 is 15, so we have 1 left over. So it's 3 and 1 over, since that's a 5, we bring it right there. 3 and 1 over 5, 3 and 1/5. D, 7 goes into 43 6 times. 7 times 6 is 42, So if you subtract 42 from 43, you get 1. So it's 6 with a remainder of 1. So 6 and 1 over, since that's a 7 there, we just bring it here. 6 and 1 over 7. E, 49 divided by 8. 8 goes into 49 6 times. 8 times 6 is 48. So we're going to be left with 1 over 8. Okay, now let's look at number 3. 3 tells us to mark under the improper fractions. Remember, an improper fraction, the bigger number is on top, or it's the same. Like this one here, it's the same. 7 over 7. So that's an improper fraction. I'll go back to the beginning though. 1 over 3 we don't have to mark. 3 over 2 we do because there's a bigger number on top. We already did 7 over 7. 6 over 11 we don't have to mark. 3 over 4 we don't have to mark. 5 over 5 we do have to mark. That is an improper fraction. 5 over 4 we do have to mark. That is an improper fraction. 2 over 7 we don't have to mark. 7 over 2 we do have to mark because that is an improper fraction, bigger number on top. And 3 over 3 we need to mark because it's the same number over itself. And we've marked all the improper fractions. Number 4, our story problem. In 1492, Christopher Columbus sailed across the Atlantic Ocean with a crew of 90. In 1497, John Cabot sailed with a crew of 18. How many more men sailed with Columbus than Cabot? Well, you knew that Columbus took 90, it said. And we know that John Cabot took 18. And when you subtract that, you'll get your answer. 90 minus 18. Let's look at the back side, number 5. 5a, it asks 1 yard equals how many feet? That should be 3. 5b, 1 week is how many days? It's 7 days. 5c, 1 ton is how many pounds? It's 2,000 pounds. 5d, 1 pound equals how many ounces? It's 16 ounces. 5e, 1 gallon is how many quarts? 4 quarts. F, 1 meter is how many centimeters? 1 meter has 100 centimeters. G, 1 century is how many years? 1 century is 100 years. H, 1 hour is how many minutes? 1 hour would be 60 minutes. I, 1 kilometer is how many meters? Remember, kilo, 1,000. 1 yard is 36 inches. Go ahead and do the rest on your own. To help you do the rest, I wanted to share with you something that will help you get the rest of it done. Have you guys heard of phobias? Now, phobias are different things that people are afraid of. We're going to learn about some different phobias right now. And the most common phobia is arachnophobia. Arachnophobia is the most common one. And what that is the fear of spiders. It says here it's affecting 10% of men, and it affects 50% of women. So it sounds like more women have a fear of spiders than men. More women have arachnophobia. We're going to look at some other phobias. And we'll see if you guys can figure out what these phobias are. I'm going to first show you the names of some phobias, and then you try to guess what they are. So I'll do my best to pronounce these here. We have allurophobia, androphobia, epiphobia, astrophobia, and aviophobia. And you guys will have to figure out what each of these mean. I'll give you an opportunity to do that. So each of those phobias have its definition here, but they're not in the right order. And you have to figure out which one of them is the fear of storms, which one is the fear of bees, which one is the fear of cats, which one is the fear of flying, and which one is the fear of storms. Okay, and we'll look at the first one here, allurophobia. Let's figure out which one it is. Raise your hand if you think it's the fear of storms. Raise your hand if you think it's the fear of bees. Raise your hand if you think it's the fear of cats. Raise your hand if you think it's the fear of flying. And raise your hand if you think it's the fear of storms. Allurophobia is the fear of cats. It's the fear of cats. Okay, next one. Androphobia. Raise your hand if you think it's the fear of storms. Raise your hand if you think it's the fear of bees. Raise your hand if you think it's the fear of flying. And now I'm realizing that we have two fear of storms. Actually, androphobia is the fear of, and I'll write it here, men. So I didn't even have it up there for you. Fear of men. Okay, now let's do these other ones here. I don't know why I had storms twice. Let's look at epiphobia. Epiphobia. I promise it'll be one of these three. Raise your hand if you think epiphobia is the fear of storms. Raise your hand if you think it's the fear of bees. And raise your hand if you think it's the fear of flying. Epiphobia is the fear of bees. Fear of bees. Okay, and we have two left, but the last one you're going to be able to tell because there's only one answer. Astrophobia. Raise your hand if you think it's the fear of storms. Raise your hand if you think it's the fear of flying. Astrophobia is the fear of storms. And then aviophobia, fear of flying. Okay, so that should help you to be able to do the rest on your own. You guys can do it. You're amazing. Do the rest on your own. Do not fear, for I am with you, says the Lord. Isaiah 41:10. You guys are so smart.